Do not force your child to push past their own intuition and their own sense of boundary in order to make a grown-up comfortable. Do not do that. So I'm in the store, and in front of me in line is this mom and two little kids in the cart, and they're being so well behaved. And there's a tiny baby in the front seat and her older brother in the big part of the cart, and he's just looking at me with like those big eyes, you know, the way kids do. I think he was about 2 or 3 years old, and he's just doing that thing where he just looks at me and then looks away and then looks at me and then looks away. And so I smiled at him and he smiled back, and then he looked away. And of course the mom isn't seeing this part because she's focused on getting through the line and the baby in the front. And so after like the third or fourth time he looked at me, I said, "Hi, do you like shopping?" And of course that was not expected from this interaction. So he turns away again, which is an entirely age-appropriate thing for a child that age to do when a total stranger talks to them, is to look away. And then the mom said, "We talked about this, don't be rude." And she had the most well-behaved kids and the best of intentions. And I just immediately said, "Oh, it's totally fine. It's a completely age-appropriate thing for him to do. I'm a complete stranger. He doesn't know me at all. He doesn't know if I'm being friendly or weird. He doesn't have a context for this." So I didn't say it like that. I just said, "Oh no, not a problem at all. I'm a total stranger. He doesn't know me." And that was about it. And then we chatted a little more about, you know, the kids and how he'll warm up to people and stuff. And yes, he totally will. And here's the thing that I walked out of that store thinking that I want to tell you about, because it is not going to help your child to have them ignore that instinct and push them past that boundary. They're allowed to not respond to a stranger. They really are. And you want your child to be polite. She's teaching her child to observe social niceties. So and no shade on that mom at all. She was doing a beautiful job. Here's what I would do instead. I would provide my child with a context, a social context, a story, a narrative that would help them understand what's going on, and a choice. So it would look something like this. Instead of "don't be rude," I would say, "I think she's trying to be friendly with you. I think that lady wants to be friendly. What do you think? Do you want to be friendly back? Do you want to answer her?" And that gives a context. It explains it. I am the mom. I'm right there and my baby is looking at me. Am I safe right now? Is this a safe situation? And that's what a mom can do right in that moment, is provide the narrative, the context that says, this is okay. This is an okay thing to have happen at the store. Some person you don't know standing behind you in line starts a conversation. And so she can give that story, that understanding, and then the choice. Do you want to say hello back? Now that you understand that this is an okay thing to have happen, and you don't need to be worried about it because I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm your safety, and I'm telling you that this is an okay thing to happen. Now that you know that, do you want to say hello back? Just that little shift. First of all, we're not pushing our child to ignore their instinct, their self-protective instinct. I don't know this person. Why should I talk to this person? But we're doing it in a way that's polite to the person behind you and is teaching our child in that exact moment, teaching your child what to expect out of this situation as it's happening, and then honoring their choice. Here's the last part. Maybe he doesn't want to be friendly. Maybe he doesn't want to say hello back. That's totally fine. You can say, yeah, sometimes it's uncomfortable to say hello to strangers. It's perfectly okay. And she could turn to me and say, I guess he doesn't really feel like talking today. And first of all, if there's a grown-up offended by that, that's on them. That's their problem. That is not your child's problem. If a grown-up is offended because your child is shy, that's about the grown-up. That's not about your child. Do not force your child to push past their own intuition and their own sense of boundary in order to make a grown-up comfortable. Do not do that. Just no. I would never want a stranger's child to do that for me. And as a parent, I would never make my child do something that makes them uncomfortable in order to make a grown-up comfortable. That is not your child's job. That turns into all sorts of people-pleasing and self-abandoning and self-betraying habits and tendencies later on in life. Don't do that. And I have 6 children. I have done this with my children, and I've done it in a culture where giving children a choice is not even thought of. We lived in Thailand for 12 years. My babies were adorable. People came up all the time and wanted to take pictures with them and talk to them and touch them and pick them up and poke their cheeks, and there was way less reserve than in Western culture. And every time I modeled, what does my child want? How does my child feel in this situation? If someone wanted to take a picture with my child, I would say, let's ask if they want to have a picture taken today. And then if they said no, I would say, no, he doesn't want to have a picture taken today. Sometimes some people try to cross that boundary anyway. And I had little boys that went, and windmill armed them away. And they were so shocked. Why, he almost hit me. He said no, he doesn't want to be friendly right now. And that was me teaching other people how to respect boundaries, and at the same time showing my kids that I would stand up for them and their boundaries, even if it made another grown-up uncomfortable. Because your kids need to know that they can set boundaries and that they should expect those boundaries to be respected. And forcing your child into a situation that makes them uncomfortable with people, especially people they don't know, but maybe people they do know, just for the comfort of the group, is teaching them to abandon and betray their own knowing and their own instincts as they go forward in life. And that is going to leave them up into all sorts of abuse and betrayal and mistreatment, because they are not going to know that my boundaries matter. So with full love and respect to that mom who's teaching her oldest child the best she can how to deal with a social situation, this is what I would suggest you do instead. You are shaping your child's experience of the world through how you talk to them every day, just like that mom was. You are giving your children context and understanding. You are telling them how they should feel about things through what you are saying to them, especially when they're small. But it goes on even as they get older. And if you're not doing this mindfully, if you're not doing this with awareness of how your words are shaping their experience, then you might accidentally be giving your kids beliefs and expectations that are going to handicap them later, relationally, emotionally, and in their entire life, career, and everything else, because kids pick up stories. Kids attach meaning to things. Kids interpret, whether we're intentionally helping them interpret that or not. And if you're not being mindful about the interpretation that your kids are attaching to these regular events, even small social encounters, do my feelings matter or don't they? You are going to end up giving them things and shaping their view of the world in a way that might be detrimental to their ongoing emotional and mental health over time. So if that's something you want to explore more and you want to be more intentional about how you talk to your kids and how you are influencing their experience of the world around them and shaping them toward resilience and strength and confidence and self-trust, stick around, because that's what this channel is all about. And I have lots of other videos that are about exactly this. So hit that subscribe button and join me for the journey of how to raise strong and self-trusting kids.